Well, welcome everybody. We're delighted to have you with us this afternoon. This is Tuesday afternoon, the 10th of May of 2020, and I'm Don Snow in St. George, Utah. And our host on this and the technical guru that's taking care of things is Gerhard Roof. He's up in Orem, Utah, northern Utah. And we couldn't get along without Gerhard. We just really appreciate it. Our subject today is on photo Filmstrip. This is a free program which will allow you to make videos from your still photos. And we're going to illustrate how you do it and with what's going on and show you an example of one. Here's what we're going to be talking about. The program Photo Filmstrip, and there are links in the notes that will tell you how to get to it and get a copy of it. It's free. It'll make the videos from your still photos. And most of what I'll be showing today was made from old slides. A few of them were from digital pictures, but most were from old slides. You can download and install it. And then once you do, you choose your photos that you want to use. And you can put a sound background, or you can have no sound to start with. Try it with no sound because it's a lot easier to do that. But then you can put a narration or a music in the background or whatever you decide to use. You can set the motion in there and the time of the slide. Now by motion, this is Ken Burns type pictures. Ken Burns is the guy on that does the PBS videos on so many different documentaries. There must be 20 or 30 or 40 different series that he's done, and they're wonderful. He takes old pictures and pans around in the picture, and it looks like it's moving, but it's an old picture. It's a still picture. That's what these things do. And when I say set the motion, you set where you want it to start and where you want it to end and so on. And then you render the video. Once you get it all set, you render the video, and then you can actually watch it and save it off as a file. Let me go back here. Let's see, one step back. I went too far. On the class notes, if you've watched any of my classes before, you know where the notes are. That's the URL where they're stored. The UV tag is Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group. And my webpage is on that. And once you click on that, which we'll do here, let me close out this thing and go to this. This is what you get to when you click on that link. This is my class notes page. On here at the start, there's some sub pages here with various other things in them. And there's how to watch these videos and how to find where they are otherwise and so on. Classes coming up. And there's the first one, which is the number 1 today. That's the class Photo Filmstrip. And if I clicked on that, it would take me to the notes, which I'll show you in a minute. There's a class on there, one more class we're going to do 2 weeks from today on some freeware stuff for family history. Then down below here are the past classes that we've had. And so if any of them that you want to look at the notes from any of the past ones, those are all links, which will take you to where the notes are stored. And this goes on down for, I think there's something like 300 classes on here from the past many years from it. Now, if you click on the class notes for today, this is the one you get to, this Photo Filmstrip, to make photo slideshows from your videos. And there's an abstract here that gives you information about it, that it's a free program. It's written by a fellow in Germany. And when you log on, there's a German version where he talks about it, where all the descriptions in German and another one in English, and the links are on here. There's the information, the welcome and the introduction of the class. There's how to get in touch with me if you're watching this many months from now, because this will be posted on Facebook for a couple of months, but then on our YouTube channel, the UV tag Facebook channel permanently. So it'll be there to watch later on. There's a couple of the hints that I always put on there that are helpful that some people don't know about, and they may be helpful to them. Here's the subject of the problem for today. What is the Photo Filmstrip, and how do you use it, and how do you get it, etc. Then here's the details about some of the stuff. What is the Photo Filmstrip itself? There's the links as to how you get it. There's the German description and the English description are on there. They're on the same website. You just change the DE in the end to EN for English from Deutschland. from Deutsch, and that'll give you the English description of it. There's an article about it in here. You may find some helpful information, and that's on here, and several other things that describe what's going on with it. There are various steps that you have to go through on here to actually do it, and this is what I listed in that picture before. You download and install it, and then you select the pictures that you want to use from your digital pictures or scanned pictures or whatever, and then put those in, decide if you want background music or not, and go and make a narration file if you decide you want that, but try it without a sound file to start with, so you don't have to worry about the timing and all that sort of thing. Then you run the program, and the program will show a little bit of information about the program as how you do it. You drag in the pictures, and they form a film strip. It actually looks like a film strip, and you can move the pictures around in there to get them the order you want. And then you set the motions for what rectangle do you want this to start looking at, and where do you want it to end with, and that will help you to see what's there. And you do that for each one, and you set how long you want that picture to run. And then if you have sound later, then you put the sound in there, and you can put a caption in there. And I'll show you an example of this here in a second. Then when you get it the way you want it, you render the video, and then you save it off, and then it's an AVI file, which is a video file, which will show on and play with the whole thing. And so there's the details of it. So we're not going to be able to cover all the details, but hopefully there's enough written in there so that you can figure out what we want to do, what you want to do on it to try it out. Now let me illustrate by doing by showing you a piece of a file of one that will do that. Let's see. Let me get over to this one and do a Control D. Let's see, or a Windows D, and I've got right in here a piece of one of these things that I'll show you just a few seconds of to start with. Let's see, I click on this one, the AVI file, and it opens this up, and I call this Children Growing Up. These are my kids.
Is this the little girl I carried? Is this the little boy at play? I don't remember growing older. When did they? When did she get to be a beauty? When did he grow to be this tall?
There, I hit the wrong thing to try to turn that off. I'll show you the whole thing is only 2 minutes long, and I'll show you the whole thing at the end. But that's an example of what we're doing with the motion, and people refer to that as Ken Burns motion, because those were all still pictures, but we're moving around, panning around in the picture to show it. And it's got fading things. You can fade in and out and change the volume and all that sort of thing. Now, let me go back and show you let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Let's see, Windows D will get me back to Windows. There's Windows and there's D. Get me back to this. And this is another PowerPoint that I made up that shows you the details that'll give you some of the picture of the program. So it's Photo Filmstrip, that's the name of the program, and these are, as I mentioned, Ken Burns style. If you're not familiar with Ken Burns stuff, it's wonderful. It's on PBS, and he did one on the Civil War, he did one on baseball, he did one on history of country western music, he did one on jazz, he did world wars, wonderful stuff. And I really like it. And so we refer to it as Ken Burns style, where he's using these old photos, but panning around in them. Now, this is what the program looks like, the photo film strip program. When you open it up and turn it on, this is what it looked like. I clicked on it this morning on my copy on my computer here, and it said there's an updated version. And I thought, oh, I don't dare update it right now, not till after we get done with the class, because I didn't dare try it. So I'm going back to show you this from this video, or this PowerPoint that I got from before. By the way, these are not PowerPoints, they're ODP, open document presentations from LibreOffice. Yeah, you start a new one by clicking on that big plus thing. And once you click on that plus, you give it a name and you tell it what you want to do, and you set the parameters. Parameters means things like, do you want this to be 4 inches? Well, not inches, but 4 inches, 4 units high by 5 inches wide, 5 units wide, or do you want it by 9 by 16? The wider is the more current form, but I prefer the 4 by 5, so I usually use 4 by 5. And you need to be sure to change someplace in here. You change it from PSC to PAL. The difference is in Europe, their video system is different than ours here in the US. It's PAL here, and it'll generate either one, but you need to be sure you generate it, otherwise it won't play on your information here. There's someplace in here, there's a setting for that you need to, and it's in the notes as the details as to what you do. You drag and drop the photos into that thing where that arrow is pointing, and what you generate once you drag the photos in there and drop them in there is you form a film strip. And there's an example of the film strip. That's where the name comes from for the program. You click on any one of those pictures, and you can drag those pictures around to get them in different order, but I find it simpler to order them first, and so they're in the right order to begin with, but you can move them if you want to. Whichever picture you click on, it shows you 2 separate panels above. It shows you this panel here to the left and this panel, same picture, but then notice that there's a little rectangle in here and there's a bigger rectangle over here. Those are the rectangles that you can select for the starting. The left side is what it's going to look like at the start, and this is the other side on the right. It's going to take up the whole screen, so it's going to be expanding this smaller one, and then it'll expand it out until it gets to the whole screen on there. And so as you set each one of these things the way you want it, here's an example of this is Kevin and Linda, my daughter and son-in-law. It's going to start with them there, and then it's going to open out to the bigger picture there on that. And so each one of these pictures you click on and set the beginning and the ending. And you also set the time as to how long you want it to run, as to 5 seconds, 10 seconds. And that'll kind of give you an estimate. Depending on if you got a picture with a whole lot of people, you're going to want to show it longer. And so you need to get the time estimate so that you have it roughly in mind as how long it's going to be. And so you might want to think through how long do you want the whole thing, and then if each picture is going to be shown for say 10 seconds or 15 seconds, divide that into the total time, and that'll tell you the maximum number of pictures that you can use, because it's awfully easy to get too many pictures in there. You can add captions. There's where you add the captions, and you can type in the captions as you saw in that video I showed you, and I'll show you that whole thing in the end here. You can put in the captions as to what you want. You can put in a narration with it, or I put in that sunrise, sunset music on there. Give the project the details here and give it a name so that you can save it off, and you do what they call rendering the video. You can do the video in a simple format, which is much quicker to see if it looks right before you do the final one. But in the final version, then do it with the high resolution video so that it looks good at the end of the whole program. And then once you get it done the way you want it, then render it off so that what you've got is the whole thing on there. Now let's show that example. Let me go back and pull up that example again. Let's see, control this thing, and that was right in here. And this time I'll show you the whole video. It's only about two minutes long. And by the way, I made that picture there of a text file.
Is this the little girl I carry? Is this the little boy at play? I don't remember growing older. When did they? When did she get to be a beauty? When did he grow to be this tall? Wasn't it yesterday when they were
Well, that's the total film strip. Now you can see what you can do with that, and that'll give you some ideas. By the way, that last picture was over in Hawaii with all our 6 kids and their spouses, and Diane and I. It was taken just a few months before Diane died. And so take time to take trips and to go places and do things, because you never know what's going to happen with the rest of in the rest of your life and with the other people. Let me get back to show you. Let's see, Control D. That's this. I think I'm all done with that. Okay, now we're back to this thing. Now, here's a summary as to what we've looked at on this. Now, this program it's not that simple. It's not hard, but it's not simple. It will take you a little bit of learning time. Start small. Just drag a few pictures, 4 or 5, into that film strip thing and try it out. It does have an automatic version that you don't have to select anything, and it will just think through what the pictures look like and do various things itself to start with. But then you can set the rectangles as to how you want it to start and how you want it to end and so on. And don't try to put sound with it at first, because the sound is the hard part, because that's what the timing is on it. You can set the length of time that it will show down to, I think it's down to 1/10 of a second. And so you make sure that it's got the right timing in there for the sound that goes with it. So we've talked about this, that it's a free program. There's probably something comparable now. I haven't looked for other programs like this, but I've used this one in the past, but I haven't checked recently for it. It will do these videos from your still pictures. And most of those pictures that you saw were from old slides that we had scanned. The last 2 or 3 of those were digital pictures from a digital camera, but all the earlier ones were from old slides that we had scanned. You choose the photos that you want and the sound if you're going to do the sound. And for that sound, I just found a sunrise, sunset, on someplace online and just recorded it off so I'd have it to put on there. But we need to be careful of copyrights, of course. But if you're doing this just for personal use, I think you're okay on it. Of course, if you're going to sell this or send it out or wholesale it out to somebody else, you wouldn't want to do that. Then you set the motion and the time as to what you want, where you want to start. I thought about doing one for my grandma when she joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in England in she was born in 1867, and she came to America in 1880. Starting with over there with a map and showing on the map across the water to get to New York City, and then across on the train, then the train was in, to Salt Lake City, and then down here to St. George, where she lived most of the time. And she's the only one of my 4 grandparents that I ever really knew. I met my mom's dad once, and my mom's mom, but I never did get really well acquainted with her. But I thought about making a slideshow that illustrates where she came from and what she did. So you set the motion of the time and so on. And then after you get it all set the way you want it, then you render the video. And once you render the video, then you can copy it. And by the way, the caption file is a separate file. And when it first comes off the press, when you first get done, it's called output.avi. And something like captions, I can't remember what it's called, captions dot something. You can change those names, output and caption, whatever it is, change it to anything you want, but you got to change both names to the same thing, except for the extensions, so that, and they have to be in the same folder for it to be able to find the extensions to play. Anyway, that's the story on Photo Filmstrip. It makes wonderful presents for family history. We've done probably, I don't know, 15 of these different ones with different times and so on. You cannot post them on Family Search yet. You can put pictures on there, or you can put PDFs or documents, but they won't take videos because it takes somebody watching it to be sure that they don't get junk on there. And they just don't have the manpower to watch that yet, but eventually they will. But right now you can't do that on Family Search. Okay, that's the story. Do any of you have any questions or comments that you'd like to ask? And by the way, if you're watching this from someplace else, we'd be interested to know where you're watching this from.
I have 2 questions, Don.
Okay.
One is, have you run across a time length limit on how long a video you can put together with this program?
I have not. All the ones that we've done have been shorter than 10 minutes, 15 minutes maximum. But I think you can go the longer. I just don't know. If you read the instructions or the help file, there may be a statement in there about it.
Okay. The other question, can you insert videos that you've, short videos in between slides in the program?
I do not know the answer to that one either. I kind of doubt it because of the way it's geared. You could always break it up. Once you did this, you could then use a video editor and splice in something else in the middle afterwards. But I don't know that you could do it in this program itself.
Well, if you did that, you would interrupt the music or whatever you have
That's
playing
right.
if you added something like that.
Yeah, you'd unless you put a blank screen in there, and then I don't know how you do that. If you could put a blank screen in there, I was thinking if you could put a blank screen in, and so the sound continued on, and then fill in the blank with the video. But that beyond my expertise.
Okay, thanks.
by quite a ways. By the way, that I started to mention that the picture I made there, where it's the children growing up, I did that using. I think it was this LibreOffice that I did, but you could do it with Word or any of these things. They have text. They call it, what they call it, text art, something like that, where you can do it in in curves or circles or something. I did that one on a slant and with various things with various colors in it when I made that. And then I just did a screenshot of it to use that for the starting picture. So you could change, instead of having to put in captions on everything, you could put in, if you wanted to break it up and say, now we're going to talk about when we moved to Texas. And so the rest of the slides then are Texas. So you could break it up that way by putting in a separate slide.
Good. By the way, Susan says she's watching from Wisconsin.
Oh, wonderful, Susan. We're glad to have you with Wisconsin. Last 2 weeks ago, we had somebody from Perth, Australia, and somebody from Massachusetts and New Jersey, and others. We're delighted to have you folks with us. Any other questions or comments?
We have a chat where I gotta make out the name. Is watching from Roosevelt or Roosevelt.
Oh, that's probably
Tuliki he fo. Elder Tuliki he fo.
Oh, for heaven's sake, that's probably my guess from Roosevelt. It's probably at the Family History Center there. My cousin Lynn Snow works in the Family History Center, so it may be him or somebody else that he's told about there at the Family History Center in Roosevelt. He works he's a temple worker over in the Vernal Temple. Okay, well, anyway, that's...
Oh, hold it. She says it's Lynn. Lynn
it is
Snow.
Lynn. Oh, it is Lynn. It is my cousin Lynn. Okay, good. Yeah, okay, right. That's Lynn. Yeah, Lynn Snow. Good, okay. Well, anyway, that's the story on what's happening with Photo Filmstrip. It'll take you a little bit of time to get used to the program, but as you can see what you could do, once you do it, after a couple of videos, and we made some of these before Diane died, we made them, and then afterwards, I made a bunch more. And by the way, do be sure you save the project, not just the video, not just rendering the video. Save the project, because then you can go back without having to look for all those old pictures and gather them all up again. It'll all be together and you can make the changes. What happened is we made one, in fact, that was that children growing up, but we didn't put the captions in. And so when I wanted to go back and put the captions in, I had to go back and find all of those pictures and get them all gathered up again, because we had not saved that project. If I'd saved that project originally, I could have said, okay, just open up this project and here's all the stuff already in there. And I could have just added the captions where I wanted them, each one on the slide, and changed the timing or whatever that I wanted to do. So be sure before you can render it without saving the project, but save the project before you leave, because you might want to go back and change things. That's the story on Photo Filmstrip, and I hope you enjoy it and get some good out of it. It makes a wonderful Christmas present for somebody or your family, or to post on things, or just to give your kids to remind them of what's going on. Thanks for watching. Glad to have you with us, and we'll see you 2 weeks from today. We'll do one more class. That'll be on family history freeware. Some freeware programs, and then we'll take a break, at least for the summer, on it. And my eyesight is getting so bad we may end up, well, anyway, we'll see. Anyway, thanks for being here with me. Appreciate you being with us.